All right, YouTube, we back with another one, man. So today, I'm talking about not one, not two, but three different Glock generations, man. I have here in front of me a Gen 3, a Gen 4, and yours truly, a Gen 5. But obviously, we wouldn't have this today if it wasn't for the legendary Generation 1, which started the whole footprint of Glocks, man. So a lot of people like to talk down on Glocks, man. It's no secret. Y'all see a lot of people trying to compare expensive guns, much more pricier than a Glock, still trying to justify why it's better. And a lot of times it's not even better, because just because a gun has more features and things like that doesn't make it a better gun. As you can see here, these guns have been around for a very long time and they just continue to work, man. So all in all, yeah, optic cuts and things like that are great. And even though you might see attachments on most of these, that doesn't mean anything, because honestly, that's not the best thing about them. You know, the best thing about Glocks is that they just work, man. They're reliable. So this video, man, I'm not going to be really comparing anything. It's just kind of just showing y'all. Have y'all ever heard of that saying? If something is not broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's one of the biggest and truest sayings that, you know, I believe in, because a lot of times people complain about, you know, when companies have a good product and they don't really change much on it, but it continues to work and people still buy it. A lot of people think that's like some type of, like a manipulation, you know, to still sell to people, consumers, us, you know, the consumer. But me personally, I don't have an issue with it as long as it still works. A lot of people say the same thing about iPhones, and I know this video is not about phones or tech, but it's the same concept. I've heard people complain about iPhones for years. Oh, they don't change this, they don't change that, but people still continue to buy them and they still continue to work. And as much as they might not make big changes, maybe subtle changes every year or every 2 or 3 years, they still work and they still are a great product, and a lot of people actually use those to this day. You know, most consumers have iPhones when it comes to the tech world. I can argue that in the comments, but you know, they are pretty much like one of the best phones out right now. So like I say, you know, it's not about phones. It's just the comparison is there, you know, because it's the same concept. When people talk about Glocks, they just always trying to sit there and say, oh, well, Glock don't got this, they don't got that. They continue to fail to innovate. And a lot of times it's not even that. It's just why change something so great of a platform and potentially end up ruining it, when, you know, all you have to do is make, you know, little minor upgrades. So at the end of the day, you know, we'll take a look at all of them little by little. But first, all in all, got to get these disclaimers out the way, man. YouTube, as y'all can see, there's no mag in any of these guns at all. We are empty. We always practice safety on the side. Safety come first, man. That's the first rule of handling these firearms. Trigger is depressed. As you can see, the trigger is depressed. And then as you can see, the trigger is also depressed on here. So yeah, nothing in the mag, man. Let's get that out the way. Nothing in the chamber, empty, completely empty. There's nothing in there. Back to the video. Yeah, man. So we're gonna start first with the Glock 19. As you can see here, pretty much, you know, basic Glock build, Gen 3. The PSA daggers are actually running off this clone right now. So pretty much you'll notice that a lot of similarities, like the small mag release, mag catch, whatever you want to call it. You got the finger grooves. Pretty much a lot of people don't like those. I don't really mind them. But the biggest change that you'll notice from the Gen 3s opposed to the Gen 4 and Gen 5 is the grip texture. The grip texture is very, I wouldn't really say aggressive, but very minimum. You just got this small little piece to work with right here. And then you have some texturing on the back right there. Obviously, you don't have the ambi slide release like the Gen 5s. But, you know, you have kind of like that square boxy look. It's not like the rounded edges on the Gen 5, which I'll show y'all in a second. But pretty much the same sights. They never really changed the sights. A lot of people complain about these. I don't really mind them. The only time I really changed Glock sights is when I had my Glock 26, and that's because that one has a smaller barrel. So I wanted to get the tritium sights to kind of help out with just being able to focus and being a little bit more on target. And believe it or not, that was a whole like night and day thing. But all in all, other than that, I never really minded the plastic sights. They don't really bother me like that, or pretty much at all. They work. I mean, just point and shoot. I mean, people make a big deal about that. Like I said, I don't really see a whole lot of differences. Now, I will say this. The trigger on the Glock, on the Gen 3 Glocks, I don't know. For me, a lot of people say the Gen 5 triggers are better. But I feel like the Gen 3s don't really have a whole lot of sponginess. Like, you hit that wall right there, but like, I don't know. I think like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but the sponginess, you know, is really not there on the Gen 3. At least that's my opinion. You know, at the end of the day, this is the only Gen 3 that I've shot. I've only other shot like Gen 5s and Gen 4s, but this is the only Gen 3 pistol that I've ever shot, and it shoots great. I mean, it shoots similar to pretty much any other Glock I've shot. Obviously, it's all chambered in different calibers. This is the 19 9mm. We got the 357 SIG, Glock 32, and the Glock 20. But yeah, so like I said, the biggest difference you'll notice is pretty much the grip texture and the mag release. That's the main thing I don't like about the Gen 3 is I don't like the small little the mag release on here. It's tiny, and it's like when you put the mag in, you have to really depress this thing to get the mag to fall out. And that's probably like my biggest complaint about the Gen 3. But other than that, I mean, the gun works great, man. I really don't, you know, see any issues with it. It's reliable. Pretty much, you know, like I said, it's pretty much like shooting any other Glock. Now, like I said, the biggest difference opposed to the Gen 3 and the Gen 4 is going to be the grip texture and the mag release. No front serrations on both. They both still have that boxy finish, as you can see right there. And honestly, they're almost identical side to side. I don't even see a difference in the barrel size, and I'm assuming that's why you could swap out barrels on the 19 and the 32 and also the 23. This is compatible with swapping out the barrels to make it shoot 9 or 40. But yeah, like I said, I do like this texturing a lot better. You still got the finger grooves with the Gen 4, but other than that, everything else seems to be the same. Still no ambi slide release on either the Gen 3 or the Gen 4. And like I said, yeah, the grip texture, you got the finger grooves once again. But other than that, if you're looking at them and you don't really know the difference, you're not really going to be able to tell the difference. So as you can see right there, it's really no difference on there. You know, like I said, the grips texture and the mag release. But if you're, all in all, if you're just looking, you're not really going to notice the difference. You're going to think it's the same exact Glock just because of the design. And they're literally the same gun. They just shoot different calibers. So moving on to the Gen 5, obviously you're going to notice a lot of differences on here. Minor, but noticeable. Starting off with the front serrations and also the finish. The finish on here is a different coating that they use. I forgot, is it NDLC? I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but they definitely went with a different coating, and you could just tell just off the lighting, the finish on it. This is more like a darker washed out gray, whereas no, this is actually more like a darker washed out gray. That's what I meant. And this is more like a closer to like a black finish. I mean, it is black, obviously, you could tell. It's definitely a lot darker. I do like this better, this finish better on the Gen 5, and I like the fact that they added the front serrations and then the rounded edges. I really like the rounded edges a lot. Obviously, as you can see, they didn't do different with the sights. The sights are the same for the Gen 3s and Gen 4s all the way to Gen 5. But obviously, I didn't make a big deal about it because I got the Hollison SCS on this one and the co-witnesses with the sights. So you don't have to worry about getting extra different sights unless you just really don't like the plastic sights. Other than that, there's no need to change them because you can co-witness with them just right. I got the dot off, but I'll turn it on just so you can see that it marries up to that. And the brightness is super low. Let's put that brightness up. So there you go. It's going to wash out from the camera, but as you can see, it's lined up perfect. And there's your co-witness right there, man. So yeah, the triggers on the Gen 4 and Gen 5 seem a little more similar, but even with my Glock 20, I don't know if it's just a Glock 20 thing or what, but since I've been shooting it and breaking it in, the wall is super short, as you can see. And I've never had a Glock with the wall this short. Like, literally, that's your wall right there. And then you break. I'll do that again for y'all. Look how short that wall is. I don't know, like I said, if it was just this particular Glock or what, but the wall is really short. And then after that, you get your break. So yeah, a little bit of sponginess, man, but nothing that bothers me. Like I said, the grip texture obviously is the same as the Gen 4. You really can't tell because I got the goon tape on here. And I really only put it on this one because it has the full-size grip. So I feel like with the goon tape, it does help me to get a better purchase, better grip on the gun when I'm shooting it. And like I said, this is a monster of a gun. If you held the Glock 20, then you know the grip is fatter than the typical Glock 17 because this chamber is a 10 mil round, which makes the slide thicker and the grip thicker. So honestly, you know, it's definitely something that you got to hold on to when you shoot this at the range. Now, for the Glock 32, being as though the Gen 4, not even about the Gen 4, it doesn't even matter. It's just the fact that this is the compact size. I don't have to put grip tape or even a beaver tail for that matter. So for me, it's like, it's easier to just get a grip on. My fault, yo, I had to cut the camera out, man. But like I said, with the compact size, it's easier for me to get a grip on. No need for me to add a beaver tail. Obviously, I got the magwell, so the only way I will be able to put a beaver tail will be to chop it. But I don't really have the need for that just because I can get a good grip on it. I really only add the beaver tails when I'm going to go ahead to, you know, needing to get like a better grip on the gun. So mainly with the bigger frame Glocks, I use the beaver tail, but I don't really use them for the smaller frame guns like the compacts or the subcompact. Like when I had my 26, I had the beaver tail on it, but eventually I took it off. So there will be no need for me to put a beaver tail, like I said, or any goon tape on here because I really just use the goon tape just to get a little better of a grip. Now, if I feel that at the range, you know, it's still slipping off, then I will obviously add it. But so far shooting this and shooting this, it's been like night and day between shooting the compact versus the full size. But like I said, man, this is not really a comparison. It's just really showing y'all that, you know, Glock never really changed much. But if you look at it, they always work all the way from the first gen down to the latest gen, which is the Gen 5. They all work great. And at the end of the day, you know, it's just a good product, man. It's a good gun. You know, it's like really no reason why to argue with it. Yeah, if it doesn't have all the greatest features, but like I said, in a real life situation, you're not gonna need any of those. This is all you need right here. You know, literally no optic on here. That's it. This is all you need for real. You know, all this stuff is a preference. My attachments on here is a preference. You know, I threw the big dot on here just because I wanted a dot on here. You know, it's optic ready, so why not take advantage? But other than that, you know, I don't really have any intentions of putting a dot on it if it didn't have the optic cut. But, you know, this just goes to show you that, you know, a lot of these companies try hard to change up. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of great firearms out there that look amazing, that look better than Glocks, obviously, yeah. But as far as the reliability, that's really what I rely on more than the look of a gun, you know, because I'll pull this out and this will probably outshoot the majority of the guns at the range, you know, whenever I'm there, just because it's a reliable gun and it just works. And if you know about 357 SIG, then you know, do your research, man. But any of these guns are going to work for that matter. So it really doesn't matter, man. You know, see what I did there? But anyway, you know, I don't want to make this video too much longer, man. At the end of the day, these Glocks, if you're looking at one, you're looking at all of them. A lot of people say that if you shot one, you shot all. For the most part, that is true to a certain extent, just because Glock offers so many different calibers to shoot that's true to a certain extent, you know, as far as the feeling. But believe me, if you shoot this and you shoot this and you shoot this, you're going to definitely realize the difference. Trust me, you won't say that anymore. So for everybody claiming that, that's only true to a certain extent, man. But like I said, Glock just works for me, man. And at the end of the day, I'm not paid from them. This is not an advertisement. I'm not trying to sell anything to y'all. I don't promote any of that on this channel. We don't have no sales running on this channel whatsoever. This is just my preference, man, my opinion on how I feel. But if there's anything you guys want to know, anything else you guys want to know, y'all already know, man. Just hit that comment section up. I'll get back to y'all as soon as I can. Otherwise, I'm going to catch y'all on the next one, man. Y'all be safe out there.